Hello everyone, here to do an update video on my 2015 Ram Ecodiesel with the ZF6 transmission, and just did another service on the transmission. I did one transmission originally, and I did the original video at 70,000 miles, and then I did another transmission service at 120,000 miles, and I did another one just now at 205,000 miles. And just giving a view of the pan. Pan is pretty good shape. You know, not a lot of difference from the first time I did the service. Some bubbles there, but this still pretty caked up, of course, which these magnets are intended to do. And they've caught, very similar amount. I don't think that they can hold more material than what's currently on there. I think they're pretty much full. So the fluid is pretty dark, which is kind of to be expected after 80,000 miles plus. Here's the current transmission fluid that I'm running. This transmission fluid I changed after 120,000 miles. I was using the AMSOIL, and that was working really well. I didn't have any problems with it. I felt I was using the best fluid out there. And this fluid I changed to at 120,000 miles. It's the Valvoline Max Life ATF fluid. Very inexpensive from Walmart, yet it has quite good performance. And I used it for 85,000 miles. And as you can see, here's the current rag that I went through. All the fluid went through this rag, and there's no chunks of metal, no shavings, no problems really. I mean, it was quite good performance. I was really surprised at how well it did. I wanted to get this done over the summer, but things were too busy for me. I couldn't get to it, and so I had to wait till the winter time when I slowed down a little bit with work. So I've done the service now, and pretty happy with it. So I've done a total of 3 services, and with no problems to the transmission. I was expecting at this point to be seeing something, but really this ZF transmission has been pretty much bulletproof. You just put decent fluid in it, change it at reasonable intervals. I wouldn't go more than 100,000 miles between services. It might be able to go longer than that, but the concern I would have is just additional wear and the filter and the magnets not catching things anymore. So I think 80,000 to me is about as far as I would push it. I might even go back to maybe 70,000 miles. I would feel a little more comfortable. But it's your truck. If you've got one of these too, you can run it as long as you want. This is just what I'm seeing in mine, and I'm pretty happy with it actually. So the Max Life fluid, I'll be using that again. That's what I just filled my transmission again with this time. So I ran it at the 120,000 mile fill up to 205, and it was good. So I've used it again, and I'm still happy with it. What else? Well, I can tell you that if you want to know the exact procedure to fill the transmission, which is a little bit complicated, not too overly difficult, but you have to understand the steps involved. And I did a video at 70,000 miles about 5 years ago. Like I said, I can go ahead and link that to this video. If you go into the description of that video, it gives you a step-by-step breakdown on how to reinstall the fluid. The main issue there is you just have to make sure that you get the transmission capped off by 125 degrees Fahrenheit. You have to have that transmission filled up to the filler bolt where it's just starting to leak out, and then you got to put the cap on it right away, and you want to do all that before 125 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you have a proper level of fill. If you go above 125 degrees Fahrenheit, then the fluid expands and you have an issue. There's a few other steps in between it, but you'll see that in the description of the other video, which I will link to, like I said. So hopefully everybody's happy as I was to see the transmission still holding up really well at 205,000 miles, and I don't see any reason based on what I'm seeing, that it won't last another 70,000 miles. It's just awesome to have a diesel transmission that's held up. I did quite a bit of towing over the last 85,000 miles, mostly during the first 50,000. So say from 125,000 miles to 175, I was doing a lot of trailering, probably 3 times a week, 4 times a week, hauling around my dump trailer, my camper sometimes. And even with all that, you see it all holding up really well, which is really nice to see. So I haven't had a ton of problems with my Ecodiesel. It's been normal wear and tear type issues. The biggest problem on the Ecodiesel, which I might do a video of if I get a chance, is the biggest problem is with the intake cover. It's got issues with it getting built up with soot from the EGR system dumping into that intake cover. So I might do a video on that and show you what's happening with that. I already had one replaced at 100,000 miles. I'm over 200,000. I haven't replaced it again, so it's probably getting due. When that intake valve cover there gets all clogged up, it becomes a problem for the butterfly valves that are inside the cover there to operate properly. And so when the engine's cold, it doesn't start as smoothly as it used to when that was clean. So you want to kind of clear that out to get better performance, at least until the truck fully warms up. And that's something I'll probably end up having to do in the next couple months. 2 or 3 months is what I'm hoping to do it in. So when that happens, I will post that as well. Okay, everybody have a great one, and enjoy your Ecodiesel.